trees here. Now, there are a couple things that I want to do before I start adding snow. And that first thing is that I want to decide, I also need to check to see all of those fallen leaves right there. I probably should remove all that as well. Let me go back to the history real quick, and I will remove all of that stuff. Let's go over here to, let's see here. This one right here, restore. I think this is it right here. There we go. Cool. There we go. Now I've moved those textures. Okay. All right. Okay. So there are a couple things that we're going to want to do. First, you need to decide how much snow do you want? Like, what part of winter is it? Is this the dead of winter where you have everything just completely covered in snow? Or is it the beginning of the winter and there's still some bit of green and browns and reds, and the snow isn't covering everything? And so what I'll do first is I'm going to go in a gradient. And what I mean by that is I'm going to start with a little bit of snow, so you can see that it starts the beginning of the winter and then going further into the dead in winter and then moving close to the shift into spring. So I'm going to show you how to do all three of those by just going in this particular order. So we should start first with the beginning of winter, where you see just a little bit of snowfall. And the great place to start is to type in snow in your thing, and you'll see right here, there's some snow right here. Now, what I'm going to recommend is going into clicking the Inkarnate tag, and that way all snow alpha textures are going to show up. The specific texture you want to use for beginning winter is these alpha. Alpha means that there is it supports transparency. So you'll see here it says alpha textures in the description here. Same thing here, alpha texture. These are going to be very, very helpful because when you're applying snow, you still want to have some of the texture beneath it. So applying these snow textures right here is going to be really helpful. And so where you should start is going into the background, and see, you can start applying a little bit of snow here and there. So what I would normally do is to show some kind of snowfall is bring the opacity down. That way I can do multiple brush strokes, just like a painter. You never do just one beautiful scene with just one stroke. It takes many, many strokes to get to a beautiful finish. And so we'll start with a lower opacity. Normally I start with 30, but I'm going to go with a little bit higher, around 43. And I'm just going to apply a little bit of snow on the ground like this, just to see where it's just kind of getting started. And what this can be is kind of frost in the morning. We'll start with this. So some frost in the morning. Notice there's no crops as well, right? It's winter. So I'll just add a little bit of frost here on the ground, right? It's not particularly quite winter yet. I can go to the top layer if I want to apply it maybe on top of the house if you want to. So you have a little bit of frost, a little bit of snow there. This is like the beginning of that snow season, right? So just applying a little bit of that alpha texture is a great way just to make it look like it's that beginning season. But then once you start getting more and more snowfall, then you want to start applying more and more snow. So there's this other snow right here. This is from Parchment World, but this one's a bit thicker. And what we'll do here is you really want to apply it in more thicker amounts. So everywhere that I already applied the larger amount of snow, or that small amount of snow, I'll start applying even more. So I'll start to really add in that snow like this. This is a little bit more, we're getting closer to the dead of winter. So I'll start some heavy, heavy snow. This is not the dead of winter quite yet. Let me just show you the transition here. So we want to show extra. Maybe you want to show it on top of the trees as well, as you would kind of expect. Let it kind of collect on top of the trees here. Top layer, maybe just even apply on top of here like this. A little bit there, here, here, a little bit more. So now you're getting closer to the dead of winter here. We'll just add a little bit more here. So it's getting more and more snowy. And we can even take this smaller one right here. And just to break up here, I'll just apply a little bit more. So you're starting to get more and more wintry, right? Now, if you want to go into the dead of winter, instead of showing that you can, what you can do now is that you can just put a full-fledged snow texture on the ground. And I'd start with maybe this one right here. Let me go back to, let's go to Fantasy Battle Maps for this. So we'll go to Packs here, go to Fantasy Battle Maps, and I'm just going to go with the full-on snow. Let me adjust the scale a little bit. Fill. Oopsie, I've got it on the top layer, my mistake. Background, 100% fill. There we go. So that's the first step, is just getting the full-fledged amount of snow on the ground. I'm going to go over to the top layer as well and just quickly delete the stuff that I put on top. So I'll go to top. Right here is the erase. Go clear. And I'm removing all the snow on top that I put on top of everything. That's fine. The next step is the couple things that I want to do. One is that you should make things like the retaining wall that this house is on top of with the line tool, as well as this right here made with the shape tool. And what's really, really helpful with using the line and shape tool is you can change the stroke, the stamp, right? So I can take this same wood right here. I'm going to open up the catalog and just type in snow like this, press enter, and I've already got a snowy wooden wall right there. So boom, I already have the snow wooden wall set up. Perfect. I can now select this one right here, open up this, type in, there's already snow. I'm going to apply this snowy stone wall. I'm going to change the size. So it's already helpful to use the shape and line tool because you can change the stamp. Then that way it's just so much easier to transition from a snowy stamp to a regular stamp and vice versa. So using the line and shape tools are going to save you so much time instead of having to re-add new stamps manually like a screwed up like Tetris. So don't do that to yourself. Use the line and shape tool to make it much easier. The next step is that I want to remove some of the color from these stamps. Like for instance, you'll see here that these stamps still has this bright yellow. So if I desaturate, or this bright red, if I desaturate it a little bit, it starts to bring out the color a little bit, and it's going to give me less work when it comes to add snow on top of it. So I'm going to desaturate that just a little bit. I'll bring the brightness up just a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing with these trees right here. I'm going to desaturate them just a little bit so that way it kind of looks like they've lost some of their color. I'm going to let those desaturate, bring the brightness up just a little bit. There we go. Oopsie, this one right here also needs to be desaturated a little bit. There we go. So already we're kind of slowly moving into our winter. I'm going to take these trees as well and just desaturate them just a little bit, not too much. Or you can replace them with a snow. So I can go ahead and just leave them there for now. If I type in tree, there should be some snowy trees that are in here, right there, like this. And I'm going to go right here and apply one and this one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove this one. Place that one there. Now I have a snowy tree there. Replace this one, put that one there, and I'm going to desaturate it just a little bit. There we go. And now you have some snow on top of those trees. That's going to be helpful. I'm going to quickly just take a look here at my options. Perfect. We're doing good here. So the next step is that maybe I want to show a lot more snow on top of the roof. So there's a couple things that I can do, right? If it's dead of winter, you can apply a huge amount of snow on top of the roof. And then what you should do is erase some of that snow around the chimney because the chimney might be hot. And that way it can have some melting going on. So what I can do is I can just go ahead and go like this, shape tool. I'm going to turn stroke off. I'm going to go to fill. I'm going to go to a texture, open up the catalog. I'm going to choose this. I'm going to open up snow. I'm going to go to inkarnate. I'm going to pick this heavier snow right here. And I'm going to take the pen. I'm going to bring this all the way up to layer 5 for now. And I'm just going to go like this across the whole thing. So I fill up the whole thing like this. I'm going to go over it like this. This will save me a lot more time than just painting it by hand. Press enter, go plus. And you have a lot of snow right on top of the structure right there. That's okay. Let's go ahead and change that blend mode. I think overlay might work best. Let me just check to see here. Yeah, overlay works best because now the snow will overlay on top without deleting anything. And I'll copy and paste and do another one. Put it right on top. Copy and paste, do another one right on top. Copy and paste, do another one right on top. There you go. So now I have those pieces right there. And then I'm going to go back into the catalog. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to go to subtract. And I'm just going to remove a little bit right there. In fact, that doesn't work. What I'll do instead is do a square. My mistake. I'll go in here like this. Go to subtract and just remove that right there. There you go. And now you have a full amount of snow kind of building up on top of your house. without having to do all this painting. So overlay blend mode, copy and paste multiple, and then you easily have this snow. So not complex, pretty neat trick. I find it very, very helpful. Overlay, what's great about the overlay blend mode is it won't hide the line work underneath it. It will apply more of the white snow to the lighter part, but not remove any of the line work. So using overlay with that snow and a shape is going to be really, really helpful. And you can do the same thing. Like we want to replace this stair right here with a snow stair. If I just type in stair like this, there should be some snowy ones. Let me go back to battle maps here. There should be a snowy stair. Let's go with this one right there. Place it right here. There you go. I'm going to desaturate it just a bit. And I'm going to bring the brightness down, turn off the shadow, and then I have that right there. So there's a couple more things that you can also do. If we just type in snow in the catalog into the stamps, you'll find that there are some snow mounds. This stuff is great. I'm going to desaturate it because I don't want that bluish color. But what I'll do is I'll put it, you can put like a big fluff of snow on top right there. You can put snow on the ground so it looks like it's built up on the ground like that. It's up to you. Maybe I want to desaturate. I don't really care much for the blue inside of it, so I think I'll desaturate that a little bit. I'll go back to the catalog, go background, take this same texture, fill. There we go. Oop, and I do have that red sky on. Let's turn that off. There we go. You know what might work better than red sky is maybe using a winter filter. That would make most sense, right? So I'll go back, turn the red sky on, then go to winter, and then I have that nice kind of wintry color there. That's going to be helpful. We'll add more filters in just a moment. Let's go ahead and add those snow piles. One thing you can do is maybe you want to show that there's a path that's been dug from here to here. Cool little trick here. You can go in and we can apply some kind of texture for the ground. It can be, let's see here. Maybe we can make a stone path. So take this stone path right here. We'll use the edgy brush. We're going to bring the brush size down. We're going to bring the opacity way, way, way down. Bring the smooth. And then I'm just going to apply this kind of rock texture like this. Just kind of apply it here and there. Just a little stone texture like this. There we go. And then what I'll do next is I'll apply some of that snow texture on top of that. There we go. Apply some snow texture on top of that. And then I can go in and add those snow. Looks like what happened was that they plowed the snow and moved it onto the sides like this. That way they could get to the entrance of the house. Very helpful. You can also just throw these snow pieces anywhere. You can cover them up, put them underneath the side of the house, put them underneath a tree, right? You'd find a lot of maybe snow falls off the tree and it lands on the ground. So put some piles on the ground, right? Maybe wind blows and a tree falls off, the snow falls off the tree, and you have these big mounds of snow on the ground, right? Where did the snow that was on top of those trees go, right? So very, very helpful. Same thing, if there's some snow missing on part of your roof, then put it right here at the base of your roof like this to make it look like it fell off. So very, very helpful. And then a couple more things that you can do is you can add a snow filter. If I open up the catalog here, and then into the catalog here, you should see snow. Let me just click that, open that up. I'm going to go snow, and I'm going to bring the opacity all the way up so you can see it. There you go, and you can see right here, little pieces of snow on the ground as it kind of goes like that. So lots of little snow. Right here, you can see it now against the tree there, so lots of snow. If you feel that the snow here, you see there's a straight line right there. If you don't like those straight lines, if you select all the shapes and then just go to blur like that, you can remove those lines while still keeping the snow. So you just apply a simple blur and that hard line that was there is gone. It will blur the texture, but it's okay if that happens because we do want it to be a little blurred so that way it looks like there's snow evenly applied to the top there. So very, very helpful to use the shape tool if you want to put snow on top of things. Same thing, I want to maybe put some snow on top of this right here. Let me go over to here. I want to put some snow on top of there. I can, right? I'm going to apply it again. I can put some nice snow on top of things. Maybe I want to put some snow on top of here, extra snow on top of that. Maybe I want to put some snow more on this edge here. I can do that, okay? So to winterize things is not difficult. Use the shape tool, just apply snow, overlay, blend mode. So that way it will overlay the stamp instead of hiding the stamp with the texture. All right, so not complex. I'm going to quickly just save this. I'm going to save it as a clone, and I'm going to call it winter. There we go. And then we'll move on to that last one. Oh, wow, only 335. We really moved quickly in this, so very, very helpful here. Perspective. You know, I really like that that suggestion, by the way, the Gannett. That's a great idea. Yeah, we should do perspective. That'd be great. That will definitely be a master class session, because that is indeed something that would be more for power users, because the tool itself doesn't necessarily support default perspective like that. But I know how to do it. I can show you all how to do it, and it's actually a lot easier than you think. So I'll make sure to write down that tower top battle map, and I'll make sure to write that down, and we'll maybe next month do that in a masterclass. Okay, great suggestion, by the way. Really like that. Okay, so now that I've done that, I can move on to that next one, which is spring. Okay, so what I'll do next is I'm going to go back into my history and just kind of remove everything in my history. Initial stage. Let me make sure that I got this right. Let's remove that. Restore. There we go. Great. And then here we go. I'm just going to go ahead and save this itself. Save as clone, and we're going to call this